What's
Hello.
up, everybody?
Hi.
This is another knee-jerk
Hey.
reaction. We have 3 of us
Hold
on
on.
board here. Josh has still not done a knee-jerk reaction. Tyler's starting to jump into him a little more.
But Josh might be doing one next week.
Yeah,
All right.
just might.
What movie are we doing this week?
We got 2 of them for you. Go ahead. Here's the first one. Okay, Rodney's not going to take it, apparently. I just wanted to clarify that. Last night...
In Soho.
Okay.
Soho.
So what, ho? Anyways, last night in Soho, guys, what do we think about it? Non-spoiler.
I didn't like it.
You could see Tyler falling asleep.
I
over there,
didn't like it.
Dude, he kept looking over at us and everything.
The cinematography, the lights, and everything's amazing. I just didn't like the story, really.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy, her name is right.
Yeah.
That's right. She's amazing in it.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great. But I just didn't like the whole vibe of this movie. It's just...
Different
do I
than
have
what
to
you
rate
expected? Yeah, give it
Yeah,
a
we'll do
rating.
it at the end, though.
it?
Unless you want to do it right now. I guess
No,
you can.
I mean, it was what I expected. I just didn't want the story to go that
Was
way.
it too slow for you?
Yeah,
It was really slow.
yeah.
I got many things to say about this movie, but at the same time, I can't really say too much without diving into spoiler territory, and I don't think we're going to do it. Yeah, I don't think I can do that with this movie. This is really a mixed bag for me. I actually walked out of the theater not liking it. I even told Tyler, I'm like, this is a 4 out of 10 for me, and I hate this shit because it is beautifully shot. It is a beautiful movie. Like, I just soak all that imagery up, the way it was shot, and the fucking just style of the movie was just awesome. And the color, the vibrance of the colors, a lot of Giallo type feels to the movie in that regard too. It was definitely a mashup of styles, and it kept you kind of interested, like, where's this going to go? Where's it going to go? But it did kind of at some point was like, well, are we going to get there? What are we doing here? Like, what's going to fucking happen? It felt like a lot of blue balls to me. Like, it felt like it would start going and then it would dial back. And then even like the things they would present us with were like, how important is this really, and will this even work unless there is some great ending? And the ending did tie it up pretty nicely, I will say, but at the same time, I'm like, did it save it, though? I don't know about that, but the more I sat back and thought about how beautiful it looked and how much I loved the imagery of it all, even though I felt it was a lot more a style over substance, I think, like, the script could have been a lot better, like, the in-between shit could have been more interesting. It was more just like, here's all these beautiful shit, and the idea was great, but everything in between that did not work so well for me. At the same time, I was like, well, now that I know what the ending is, maybe I can enjoy the ride a little more, and it brought my score up a little bit more to where I'll say I don't hate it anymore, but I'm still really disappointed on my end.
Yeah, I went into this movie hoping that over anything else that the cinematography would be on point.
Me too.
You got Edgar Wright behind the camera, who did Baby Driver. He did the
loves
Cornello trilogy. I mean, it's Edgar Wright. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I fucking love that movie. This movie, the cinematography was, I got exactly what I wanted. Like you said,
Some of the best
all the
I've seen
shots
all year.
from the 60s was incredible and it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but
Yeah.
when she goes into the 60s in the dream state, it's like, wow. It wows me. But bland everywhere else. The story was there, but I feel like he didn't stick it. It was like he almost like rushed the ending for us. Anya Taylor-Joy is an exceptional actress, but I think they underutilized her in this movie.
I honestly didn't like the main girl that much.
I didn't like her either at all.
And her main counterpart, she kind of has a love interest in this movie. I wasn't a big fan of her.
I didn't like
him either.
Yeah,
I should say.
he was awful.
They always try to. Yeah, never mind.
But I think she didn't have as many lines in this. She was like a secondary actress that was just like there. Now I will say, the whole at the beginning, like halfway through the movie, where it shows the double of like her chilling with Anya Taylor-Joy through the mirrors and shit like that, and like all the reflections of like very noticeable.
That was so cool.
It got old after a while,
but
though.
it was like, but what are they doing with this?
Yes, that's what.
And it was started
there was
to bother
no
me.
direction for it.
And then you don't know until the very end. And since it's such a slow movie,
It's
you're
not
sitting there
even
like,
that much
what do
of a
we do?
payoff.
And Tyler, once again, is getting up before he needs to. He needs to say his score still.
I got my score.
I don't know. It's just Well, I'll wait till we get to the score.
I think it's style over substance. At the
Absolutely,
end of the day. That's
100%.
just what it is, dude.
100%. This is not your typical Edgar Wright movie.
If they tightened up the script, like they did everything right with the style of this movie and the look, but I just didn't care about the in-betweens of everything. It was everything that was just like in your face was so beautiful, but I was like, but wait a minute, what's happening in between that? It just wasn't enough for me. It wasn't as tight-knit as it could have been. And it was never bad with the in-betweens, but it was consistently throughout the whole movie. I'm like, they could do a little more with this, and they never did, over and over again. And it just lowered it for me. Score, Tyler.
I'll give it a 4.3. I don't really want to see this movie again.
I want to see it again because I'm curious how the twist will tie it up for me by, seeing it again now that I know what's coming, because there's a lot of shit. I'm like, why are they even doing this with this? Because I don't even... And at the end, I'm like, okay, well, maybe... But also the twist I thought was, like, predictable. It wasn't exactly what I thought, but I was like, it's one of three things. It wasn't like, oh, it's only coming a mile away, but it also was like, that's not surprising at all. It's one of these three things.
I saw it immediately.
Yeah. For me, I bumped it up to a 5 out of 10. Right down the middle for me right now. But it's a half and half for me, dude.
Yeah, the twists at the end, there's actually multiple. I'd say there's 2 twists to look out for in this. I won't say what they are. One of them kind of worked for me. It was very noticeable. Well, I'll talk about it after this. But it was noticeable, but the other one had no substance to it whatsoever. It was just like, here, let's just throw this in real quick and let it be.
You're here. I'm going to start loading this ball real quick.
I mean, it's... For the respect of Edgar Wright, the cinematography, I get what he was trying to do. Anya Taylor, I'm right there with you, although I probably land on I'll give it a 6.0 on the button. Yeah,
okay.
I'll give it a 6.
I almost did that. The more I thought about it, I was like, maybe I should. I'm like, no, dude, now you're over. You're about to give it 2 more points. You can't.
I mean, I like it, but it's not like a movie that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was my number, by the way, Last Night in Soho was my number 7 most anticipated for this month or year. And it's not even in my top 10 of the year now. So
yeah, I didn't like it at all. So
yeah.
Go watch it and make your own opinion. Comment.
Go watch it.
Comment for us.